War Report coming live every Tuesday at 7 with Steve, Cat, Ryan, Amanda, and Eric. And the voice of NEW, Vince Berry. Hitting all the topics like a clothesline flurry. Turn up your speakers and hear them out. You can listen from your car, even on your couch. They too raw, who NXT? Handing out smackdowns, follow on IG. Plus, it's sponsored by Tag Me a Date. Go to YouTube and sub now for every update. It's all wrestling here. No safe space, now listen in. Time to hear from some of the greats.
Welcome, everybody, to the War Report podcast, brought to you by TagMeADate.com.
Yeah.
May come back eventually, but we're still working on it.
Yeah, right.
It's only been a few years, one of these days. But welcome to the show. Another War Report After Dark, and we got some fast lane to talk. We got a lot of shit to talk about, actually.
Yeah, we do.
Tonight's a pretty big night, too, which people might be watching currently. But we got a little Tuesday night war action, a little tit for tat between Tony Khan, Triple H, and Shawn Michaels. I mean, there really is a lot of things to cover.
Beautiful.
And of course, we also do have Fastlane. So, hey, Tara, welcome as always. So
it worked this week. Look at that. Tara's face came up.
Oh, yeah, look at that.
I don't know. I can never figure out why it does or doesn't work. So
no, I don't either. But hey, listen, it happened today, so that's good. So where do you want to start? Should we start with Fastlane?
Yeah, I guess Fastlane should probably be it. I've been sick as a dog the last couple days. So,
dude, it's going around. It is going around, and it's like COVID type symptoms, but not COVID.
Well, dude, I took a COVID test yesterday just to be sure.
Yeah, well, now they're saying this new strain. Some of them can't even be detected with the fucking test. So who the hell knows?
Oh, fuck me. All right. Well, yeah. So I've been sick. I mean, I kept up with it a little bit. Oh, hey, what's up, David?
Rosca.
How are you, David Rosca? Excellent. I saw him post about Eddie Guerrero. It was earlier today or yesterday because it was Eddie's birthday.
No, it was today. It was today.
Yeah, so it was Eddie's birthday. That's always a tough one. But yeah, so I've been sick. I kept up with it. I didn't watch, like, even right now, like, I just woke up maybe. You sent a message that said it was three minutes to the show. I was like, oh, I got to get up and do this thing. Yeah, I didn't even watch. I didn't watch Dynamite. I didn't watch NXT yet. So I'm.
Yeah, COVID does suck, brother. We happen to agree with you. And Facebook user watching. I don't know what that means.
Kevin? He's probably watching the double dip there.
Well, yeah, but which one are you watching? You're watching NXT.
You got them both on, man. It's the age of the internet.
I even during the Monday Night Wars, I always watched one and then during the Monday Night Wars, what we would do, because Nitro always came on first.
Yeah.
So what we would do is we'd watch the first hour of Nitro, then we'd watch Raw, and then go back and watch the last bit of WCW. That's how we always did it. Which made it interesting because I remember that whole Mick Foley deal, watching it live, when they said not to change the channel.
Oh, yeah.
Then everybody changed the fucking channel.
I guess it's my dad. Hey, what's up?
Hi, Dad.
Yeah, what's going on, man? So, yeah, Monday Night Wars, I mean, I remember, and this was, gosh, I probably shouldn't have been staying up this late as young as I was, but Nitro and Thunder would repeat as long as there wasn't something else going on afterwards.
Yeah.
So if you missed something, you could just go back and check it out.
No, that's true. Well, we used to do the whole VCR deal.
Oh, for sure. Same.
Yeah, VHS tapes for those kids out there who don't even know what that is anymore.
I remember offering somebody $5 for a VHS tape of Sting speaking for the first time with J.J. Dillon right after Starrcade '97.
Yeah.
I was like, Sting, like not knowing, because I was not knowing that Sting actually talked, like he was a human that could say words. But at the time, I was like, oh my God, Sting said the first thing I've heard him say in like a year and a half. I got to have a tape of this. And now, of course, with the magic of the internet and the fact that Sting hasn't stopped talking since 1997.
Yeah, that's true. Now they can't get him to shut the fuck up.
You can't get that guy to shut up. He used to be a guy that they're like, oh, Sting can't cut a promo. Sting wasn't a promo guy. And now, like the last 20 years, like between TNA and or AEW, I almost said Impact. He's been on a fucking tear, that guy.
Yeah, no, he has.
But
all right, listen,
let's
let's dive into a little Fastlane action, because Fastlane was actually a much better show than I anticipated it to be. You know, you always say you got to start strong, you got to end strong. If you're not last, then you want to be first. And they kicked off Fastlane with Judgment Day, Damian Priest and Balor versus Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes for the undisputed tag team champions, which I did not think Judgment Day would lose, and they did. It was a great match. It was a great finish. All of Judgment Day being out there towards the end, McDonough fucking everything up. I mean, it just, everything worked. To me, that was a home run start. The crowd was great also, by the way. But it was a great way to start the show, and it was a shock. I didn't see they truly are the odd couple, you know, Cody and Jay.
Yeah.
But I will say that press conference afterwards, the two of them were what appeared to be drunk.
Yeah.
Was absolutely, to listen to Cody Rhodes say yeet was just everything. Like, the whole thing was funny. Even Triple H, when he sat down and he's like, well, that was interesting. Yeet. You know, like, and apparently they weren't upset with them either. Like, it was,
well, that's good. Well,
they didn't step over any lines or anything like that.
No, and I know Jimmy's the one with multiple DUIs. Jay has one. So I'm just, you know, it's a whole family full of people with substance abuse issues, from Yokozuna down to Umaga and everything. Let's, you know, I'm happy he's having fun, but I'm hoping this isn't like a trend of like, hey, every time Jay gets a big win, he's gonna go out there and have a drink or two and act out. So,
well, as long as he's not driving,
right? Everything in moderation. Designated driver, all that legal stuff that you have to say when you're publicly broadcasting something.
Yeah, but the match was, I thought, fantastic. Great way to start the show. Tara's watching NXT. Dirty Dom is facing Dragunov for the NXT title.
But there's more.
LA Knight is the ref, which, okay, that's cool. And
hilarious was the press conference.
Right. So, yeah. So
yeah.
So
LA Knight's the special ref. They really loaded this NXT. Well, I love this. There was so many people going like, "Oh, it's a pissant company. WWE doesn't care about AEW. All this other shit." And it's like they brought back the Undertaker for NXT on a Tuesday night. They brought back John Cena. Like they're
bringing out all the heavy hitters. They do want this one. I mean, even Triple H or Shawn Michaels announces that the first I believe hour is going to be commercial free. So Tony Khan then came out a couple hours later and said the first 30 minutes of AEW will be free.
It's such a good thing.
It's a great thing. This is a great night of wrestling. You would need to, honestly, if you really care about wrestling, you need to tape one and watch one. Or tape both and watch them. Don't watch them at the same time. Be glued into one and then be glued into the other. In my opinion, that's how you're going to get the most out of it. And right now, WWE has stacked the fucking card. Not to say that AEW hasn't, but you know, listen, you're talking about. I'm sure Jade Cargill is going to be making. I mean, you are going to get some heavy appearances tonight. And then to top it off with The Undertaker, I mean, there's nothing bigger than, you know, you're at an NXT show, you know, and then it's got to happen at the end, in my opinion. But I mean, you're sitting there, whatever the main event is, they do what they do. And then all of a sudden, you know, you hear the bell tones, you know, like, are you kidding? In NXT? Booker ever been in NXT?
I don't think so.
That's amazing if they bring back this version. Amazing.
Yeah, but that's the other thing is he said he's done, he's retired, the Undertaker's done. I'm Mark Calloway now. I'm not putting back on the hat. I'm not putting back on the jacket.
All right, so fucking A, ride down in the motorcycle.
Yeah, well, that's what it's
when
got.
you're chewing tobacco and beat the hell out of Corbin. I mean,
but that's what I'm trying to figure out. What is they pulled a guy out of literal retirement to try and win a Tuesday night show with their third. Like, it's so funny to just think of that. Like WWE hasn't had to counter program like this since WCW.
I think this is going to be their way of now officially making NXT a third brand and not a developmental. I think they are going to make this an actual mainstream. There's Cody Rhodes opened with a major announcement. I purposely haven't read anything, so I don't know what was said yet, but maybe that's what the announcement is. But I heard that it was something to change NXT, but I don't know. So, I mean, that's possible, but
in my estimation, though, for that, they would have to change the name and completely rebrand because NXT was established and has been established as the developmental territory. It started off as a reality show where they, it was almost like Tough Enough for developmental people where somebody could win like a main roster contract, and that fizzled because it stunk, but the name NXT stuck around and it was repurposed for this new brand. And NXT, that's next. That's the whole thing. Even the show NXT Level Up is the one that's like a step down from this. The way the branding is shown is like, these are the young guys, these are the young girls, these are young performers that are going to be next. So if they want to establish this as another brand that is equal, Tara does say the announcement was good. I haven't seen anything. Again, I'm going to
watch after the show.
Yeah, I'm going to have to tune in until after and check all this shit out because I knew I just didn't have I didn't have the energy just feeling the way I was feeling.
I will say this.
Give all the attention to it.
I will say this. Whatever they wanted to accomplish is working because I never record NXT. And I said it's a record this week. So, that's
you're going to get a lot of that. Yeah. A lot of people are doing that, I'm sure.
Good friend. God, we got to get
this is from last week. Oh, yeah. I got to, if I wasn't sick, I would have made it. Shit.
Our good friend from YouTube, David Roscoe. Why I said Trish Stratus is the reason Anaheim Angels won the 2002 World Series champion. She retained the women's champion against Molly Holly and Victoria September 23rd, 2002 in Anaheim, which is his hometown.
Oh, see, I thought you were Canadian with the Expos thing, but you're in Anaheim. All right, David. I also thought, because somebody had mentioned that maybe she threw out a first pitch, which I thought maybe that would be the good luck charm. But it all lined up there, September and then October for the World Series. Oh, there was more than one announcement. I bet you, like, if I had to put money on it, of course, it's Cody going to SmackDown to try and finish the story.
Well, now, I mean, and he can technically do that even as the undisputed champion because they can now be on both shows. Yeah. Not that the brand split means anything anyway.
Anything.
Tara says she stands corrected, but I don't know what she stands corrected over. What did we correct her on?
Oh, was it just more than one? Oh, okay, I stand corrected. I don't know. Oh, maybe she was. I think Tara might have been.
Maybe there wasn't more than one announcement.
Oh, maybe there wasn't. Okay, I thought maybe Tara was the one that said the thing about the first pitch last week, and then that's why David was. I don't know.
That's very possible.
Somebody in the comments was saying. Again, we were trying to figure out the context of the Anaheim Angels thing. Great. So now we're okay. Everybody's all on the same page now.
All right. So moving on, we had the LWO, which wound up becoming a handicap match, right? To start anyway, against the Street Profits and Bobby Lashley. It's finally we're seeing the Profits as heels now. They're getting boos, which I got to tell you, I am enjoying the way Montez is playing up the heel. Dawkins also, don't get me wrong, but Montez is the goofball, and he's being just more of a dick, and it's great. And Bobby Lashley's gold. You put them together, I think it's great. I do think they need another member. But the match was great. And then when Ray and Santos got into trouble, their partner was revealed as the official return of Carlito, which was awesome. He looks
That is cool.
They changed his music, which I guess they kind of have to now because of the rights and all that shit, but they changed it. It's great. He didn't come out with the apple, but that doesn't say that it's not going to happen at some point. But he came in, backstabber, won the match, and maybe he's going to be officially one of the newest members of the LWO. But it was great to see Carlito return. And the crowd popped heavy for Carlito.
13 years, right? 13 years since he's been a part of the main roster?
Well, yeah, I guess, because you can't count he had 2 appearances. One recently at the Rumble, right? I think.
Yeah.
And then he made an appearance before that. But before that, it may have been 13 years. I don't know if it's been that. If it's been that long, that's crazy.
Oh, he worked with them. Yeah, he worked for them until 2010, dude.
Jesus Christ! Wow, it has been that long. God, we're getting.
Because then I remember. Do you remember he was there, and then his Primo and Epico, and they had the cousins, and they were selling timeshares and shit.
Yeah, which was actually a great gimmick. I enjoyed that. They just never won any matches.
Yeah,
it was hilarious.
I mean, those guys. I guess it may be a thing that kids didn't get, but as an adult, watching 2 guys hand you pamphlets to try and sell you a timeshare is such a relatable thing.
Well, kids nowadays, they don't even know what a pamphlet is. It's I got an email or I scan a barcode and go to a website. I mean, it's not,
Yeah, it's not the same, but
everything's different now.
But Carlito, if you remember, Carlito was the Intercontinental Champion, and then Ric Flair beat him in that match where Rick ended up having a big purple bruise over his eye.
I remember that.
And that's the thing I remember from the match the most is how nasty that mouse, the hematoma above his eye was. But the other thing you take away from that was Carlito was with Torrie Wilson at the time.
That's right.
And there was scuttlebutt that Carlito wasn't working as hard, that the young guys were lazy, this, that, and the other thing. And then Ric Flair cuts his promo to his face backstage before their match about how the young guys aren't cutting it, and they show up late, and they're playing video game. All the complaints that Vince McMahon probably had about the actual talent.
Right.
And Ric Flair delivers this scathing promo, and he's not. I can't say he's wrong. Because I wasn't there, but I guess the perception was the young guys needed to step up more in that time. He cuts this awesome promo, wins the Intercontinental title from Carlito. Carlito goes away for a long time, and it's just kind of it's always speculated that because of Carlito's dad, Carlos Colon, his cousins, the relationship that WWC in Puerto Rico, his dad's promotion, has with WWE, that it was kind of a no-brainer that Carlito was just going to come back. He left. He'll take a little break. He'll get back in a year or 2, maybe 3. Then 3 turns into 5. 5 turns into 10. You're like, this guy's never coming back.
And I gave up on it. I gave up, and he looks great.
I gave up on it aside from those one-off Rumble appearances. I'm like, there's no way he's coming back for a full-time run. But I think, shit is so much different now with I don't want to say, prescriptions from doctors, but supplements and workout techniques and nutrition and everything else. You can have your second run like this nowadays. Whereas in the 70s and 80s, if you came back after a 13-year layoff, you're probably not looking as sharp. Not that he wasn't wrestling, but you know what I mean? Those guys, when they came back 10 years later, or they switched promotions 10 years later, always looked a little worse for wear. And all these guys that are coming back, they might look a little old. Edge looks old in the face, but Edge can still go. Christian's on the run of his life. Sting is fucking 70 and he's jumping off of shit. So Carlito being 10 years younger than Edge, probably, Edge is 50 and Carlito's 40 something. Yeah, man, he's got all the time in the world for another good run. And I think not that he should be beating Gunther or anything, but Carlito going back to the Intercontinental title scene where he kind of made his name for himself would be very appropriate.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see. I'm curious
It
to
really
see.
is, yeah.
Curious to see where it's going to go.
I always liked Carlito. Like, Carlito was one of those guys. I mean, I spit in the face of people who don't want to be cool, and he had the apple, and he was spit. And I know that was like a heel thing, but like that shit was.
But then it got over. Yeah,
it got so over. And every week you were waiting. Who's he going to spit the apple in the face this week? And yeah, a lot of fun.
He was great. Didn't he have a talk show too for a while?
Carlito's Cabana, I think it was called.
I think you're right.
And they had like lounge chairs and like a hammock and stuff. It was tropical.
See, I remember.
But if you asked me what happened 3 weeks ago on Raw, I couldn't fucking tell you.
Oh, I have the same problem. I'll
tell you this shit that happened 15 years ago, no problem. Yeah.
So, moving on. We had the triple threat women's match for the championship. Asuka versus Charlotte versus Io, which I have to say, I actually picked Io keeping and retaining. I think you said the same.
Yeah,
but I thought that was another one. It was a great finish. It was a great start too. Like the mist came out early on Charlotte, which was great. The match I thought was great. The finish I thought was great. Yeah, I can't complain at all about that match, to be honest. I really thought that was well done, and the finish was fine for me. I was good seeing Io keep the title.
Io had to keep the title. That's 100% the case. She had to keep that title. It would have been such a disservice to her run to just have it kind of.
Well, all right, listen. I mean, not for nothing. They did that to Asuka now for the second time too.
I know, but that's what I'm saying.
I wouldn't have been mad if Asuka won it back as long as she got a significant run. But I'm glad that if it wasn't, and nothing against Charlotte because I still think Charlotte is the best. But you know, I want these two to have runs, especially Asuka. I mean, fuck yeah, she deserves it. I mean, so does Io. So I'm glad they're giving it to her. But
for sure. Now there's rumor and speculation that Kairi is coming back.
I did hear that she just did her goodbyes.
Yeah, she had like a final match in Japan yesterday or overnight.
Yeah, that's been the rumor.
So is this a three? Do you think we get a 3-person Kabuki Warriors with Io, Kairi, and Asuka?
I'll tell you what. I am so down for that. And then fucking throw Shinsuke in there. Have like a I don't even know what you would call them, but like have a stable of that.
We're gonna call them Team Pearl Harbor, pal.
You're a dick. But you know what I mean? Like that would be interesting. I mean, just saying. I mean, that would be pretty cool.
I like because Asuka's talking. You know, they're starting to allow their talent to speak in whatever native language. You know, they're comfortable with, and then they just put the subtitles instead.
Well, listen, Shinsuke's promos have never been better since he's done it in his language, and they 100%. Have the you know, I mean, it's fantastic. And I love when there's nothing funnier to me than Asuka and Io doing a promo on each other. You know, so it's just great. Like I don't need to know what they're saying. I believe it. It doesn't matter what they're saying. You know what I mean?
You know, context is important. You can tell based on somebody's facial expressions or whatever,
right?
Inflection in the voice. Yeah. Shinsuke's way more comfortable, and not that he's a slouch on speaking English. It's just that there's something when you
Shinsuke, it is all about his facial expressions.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
I mean, when those eyes open up and he dips, I mean, he looks sadistic. Like this is the Shinsuke we've been waiting for. This feud with Rollins, which we'll get to, of course, when we get to the main event, has revived Shinsuke's career in the WWE. This is what's going to keep him going now for a while, because this has been the best form of Shinsuke we've seen since NXT, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, and I don't disagree at all. I just think that like not no knock on Seth, but we do this every 6 months with this motherfucking guy. Like he's the least interesting option of everybody on the roster, and they just go back to
He's
him because he's
no, I
older.
mean,
He's very reliable.
he is
He's very
reliable. He's
reliable.
been very entertaining. This whole thing with the crowd and I mean, listen, it's working, and people get excited. It's working. Like they had every reason to do what they did and give him the title. I do, however, well, I'll
But it gave him
continue.
superpowers. Yeah, we'll go to the next one.
I was gonna say I'll continue that when we get to the main event. John Cena, LA Knight versus Jimmy Uso and Solo Sikoa. Again, another great match. Cena took most of the ass whipping in that match.
Yeah.
And looked great. And LA Knight got the pin, which was great, because he's the one that needs the rub. It was just great. I mean, it was just what you expected it to be. It was a good match. And Cena and LA Knight got over. And Paul Heyman was spectacular in this match because he is outside the ring in what appears to be on the cell phone with Roman, giving him play-by-play.
Oh, God.
And the facial expressions and what he's saying is just absolutely gold, especially when it's going their way and then it starts to not go that way. And then they lose in the end, and all you hear is Paul Heyman go, "My tribal chief, we have a problem."
No.
And the tribal chief is returning next week. So shit is going to go down. Well, because of course it's the season premiere, which I always get a kick out of because it never ends, but this is the season premiere. But
great. Yeah. Paul Heyman, dude,
is the best.
When you started telling me that, it brought me flashbacks of Undertaker versus Brock Lesnar, Hell in a Cell.
Yep.
And Paul Heyman's on the outside.
Oh my God, I know exactly where you're going.
It's the one where Undertaker has the cast. Brock broke his hand with a fire extinguisher or something. There's a point where, Brock is beating the shit out of the Undertaker, and the Undertaker starts to come back. And Paul Heyman, being on the other side of the cage, can't do anything. He goes, Brock, we're losing. He said, we are losing, as if it's a basketball game. You know what I mean? We're losing. No. Brock's losing. You can't help it.
Paul Heyman is the best. I fucking love him. Real quick before we continue, David Rosca, the Angels are my team winning all in 2002. The Angels still my team.
You got to stick with them. They're your team, dude. I'm a Yankees fan, and it was a rough season. So,
oh my God, I was just gonna say it is hard to be a Yankees fan, and then on top of it, it's even harder to be a Giants fan. So, fucking Christ, I'm getting killed right now. But in anywho, Tara, I was actually really surprised at Cena's performance, only because he keeps hinting at retirement. I mean, listen, him hinting at retirement shouldn't have anything to do with his performance. He can still go. He's saying he wants to retire because, it's harder to recover now. But he can still go. He can still take his bumps. He did a great job. I do think he needs to shave the head. The balding in the back is making him look so old. Like, you started your career with the shaved head. Go back to Thugonomics before you hang it up. I'd totally be cool with that. Just don't, make it too cheesy.
Or hear me out here. He's probably a billionaire. He can afford the good hair plugs. He could get like a hair transplant.
Yeah, but dude, everybody would know.
Yeah, but so what? Like, at least then he wouldn't have the thing. Like, he has to do so. We're on the same page because he has to do something. He either has to shave it or he has to get shit put into it.
He looked good with a shaved head. I don't see what the problem is. Go back, unless it's a movie thing.
Speaking of, dude, because Tara mentioned it in her comment about he keeps hinting at retirement. Here's what he's saying. As soon as the writer's strike, or the actor's strike rather, is settled, and it could be as early as tomorrow. There's rumors that the actor's strike is going to be settled tomorrow, Wednesday.
I heard that.
He basically said he has to immediately stop doing WWE because there are films that he's contractually obligated to perform in, and there is insurance and all this other stuff. So if he gets injured in a wrestling match, like The Rock did at WrestleMania against Cena at 29, it pushes back filming, it pushes back things, it
All
affects
right.
people's
Whoa.
jobs, all that
Stop,
stuff.
stop. Hold on. So
Yeah.
let me get this straight. All right. So this shit ends tomorrow, hypothetically, right?
Yep.
They could say, okay, he has to stop now officially. Now, what the fuck happens with, like, that's it? He just disappears because he's been advertised. Like,
Well, I
you
mean,
know
I'm
what I
sure
mean?
he can make appearances, but I don't think he can wrestle. He said it at the press conference. He's like very, very. Somebody asked him this. You know, one of the journalists. They're like, once this actor strike is resolved, are you going to continue wrestling? He's like, no, contractually, legally, I can't. So
Well, we'll have to see where this
they
goes.
might give him.
But
Maybe they'll give him, some kind of dispensation to wrestle one more match to finish the storyline and all that stuff. But who knows, dude? It sucks because
I mean, listen, for somebody like Cena too, like, let's not get it twisted. He's not coming back for the money. He doesn't need the money.
Right.
It's just because he loves the WWE. If it wasn't for WWE, John Cena wouldn't be in any movies. I mean,
Yeah.
they gave him the platform to become a star, and he did. So, we'll have to wait and see what happens. David Roscoe, why aren't there any more managers in WWE? Well, that's a great question. The only answer I could give you is, who the fuck is going to want to compete with Paul Heyman as a manager? Like, there's nobody that can be a better manager than Paul Heyman.
I know, but you still gotta have like.
I mean, I'm not opposed to more managers, but I feel like every time it's a manager, it's a woman, and then they wind up starting to wrestle anyway. So they're not really managers anymore. You know what I mean? I mean, you could call Valhalla a manager right now. I mean, she's technically just a manager of the Viking Raiders.
But they need like a dedicated somebody who's not going to wrestle, like Paul Heyman, like Prince Nana.
Well, listen, dude. I mean, I get what David's saying too, because like if you think about to like our childhood, I mean, you had Bobby Heenan, you had Slick Rick, you had
everybody had a manager.
Miss Elizabeth, you had Mr. Fuji, you had. I mean, the list goes on, and this is all at one
Freddie
time.
Blassie,
Jimmy Hart,
Wizard, yeah, Jimmy Hart.
I mean, there were so many managers. So that's a good question. Maybe that's something they'll start to bring back. But Baron Von Vito, yeah, that's another one.
Baron Von Vito. Oh, geez, yeah, that's the manager. Listen, the problem. Poor Vito. You know Vito, right, Steve?
Yeah.
Poor guy comes back to manage, and now they have him taking bumps and wrestling matches and going through tables and all kinds of shit. He's like, I just wanted to like manage my friend and have fun, and now I'm like wrestling every other weekend.
And he's loving every fucking minute of it.
Oh, he's loving it, but he's like,
of course he is. And you know what? He's very good. He's
so
over the top. He's so over the top.
He's walking like Mick Foley.
Oh, poor guy. Listen, there's people that would beg to be in his shoes.
Oh, for sure.
So, all right, listen. It brings us to the main event. Shinsuke Nakamura, Seth Rollins. All right. So, in my head, right, I'm sitting here and I'm watching the entrances and I'm saying, okay, so exactly what we talked about last week is happening.
Yeah.
That Judgment Day lost the tag titles. This is setting up Damian to cash in after a last man standing. And he's going to leave as champion, which sucks because I really want to see Shinsuke win the title.
Right.
Not only did I not get a cash in, but I also didn't get Shinsuke, and Seth Rollins retained with the Falcon Arrow through a table. Great spot. But Shinsuke did some crazier shit to Seth.
Right.
And he was able to kick out. The red mist spot off the ladder was awesome. The spot out in the crowd. I mean,
well, didn't he throw him off a stage or through a stage or something too? Like Seth got messed up.
Yeah, but then the problem is that then pictures and videos went viral, and it was a fucking mattress, and that he fell on, and then Rollins quickly rolls to the concrete So the camera, when it veers, it was all about angles, and it's actually a spot now that you're like, it looked fucking cheesy. But overall, that to me is not going to ruin a match. You know, you want them to be safe, right? So at the end of the day, I thought it was a good match. I was surprised, and I lost this pick because I honestly did not think Seth Rollins was leaving that building as the heavyweight champion. But yeah, no cash in, and I sat there and I waited and I waited and I waited and I waited, and I was like, okay, so guess we're not getting a cash in.
Yeah, and they're also setting up the potential failed cash in, which I hate to even bring up. Because they're teasing that JD McDonough is going to get involved, or something's going to happen where the Judgment Day is not going to all be on the ball, and someone's going to fuck up, and then Damian Priest isn't going to win. They're at least teasing it.
They are definitely teasing it, but I don't think it's happening. I think I said this, I think it was last week or the week before. I kind of got into a debate with Al about it, but I really think that Damian is going to be the breakout star of Judgment Day.
He should be.
So I don't see him having a failed cash in. I see him cashing in and winning. But that was pretty much fast lane. I think we should move over to Raw because we are talking about now things that have kind of taken place on Raw.
Yeah.
So Monday Night Raw, I thought was actually a pretty decent Raw. I did enjoy Raw. It kicked off with Jay and Cody. No, did it kick off with them? It was so long ago. I don't even remember.
It was so long ago. It was 24 hours booked.
I know. That's the ironic part. Hold on.
If you hear me go silent, I'm just blowing my nose, by the way.
Well, thank you for muting. I will say this, because we don't have to go in any fucking order, but what I will say too, they in the end, to go back to what you were talking about with the teasing of a shitty cash in.
Yeah.
Because Damian was going to cash in last night after at the end, but Drew McIntyre stopped that from happening because they set up Drew McIntyre. That's what the opening was. It was Seth Rollins, and then Drew McIntyre challenged him, and they are going to be fighting at Crown Jewel because that's the next big show. But it was a good promo with the both of them, and it was kind of cool because it's interesting because with Drew, they're like teasing that he's heel without making him heel. Like he's being a dick kind of heel, but he's still not doing heelish things. Like he didn't jump Seth Rollins, but he wasn't going to help Seth Rollins either. You know?
But didn't he stop the cash in? Like, because he wants
his title. He did, because he wants his title shot.
Exactly. So he's playing the middle ground character right now, which is fun. You know, everybody's saying he's going to turn completely heel, and maybe he will. But I think for now, just having him be somebody that's it's a very relatable thing to be frustrated and still be a good person, but then because you're frustrated, make poor decisions or treat people poorly because, you know, we've all been there at a job where you're like, I'm working really hard at this job and I'm not getting the respect or the things that I've earned. And then, you know, you might take it out on a coworker, and that's what Drew's doing. He's not necessarily a bad guy. They're painting him as a guy who's just been on a bad streak, like had some bad luck. And even
he just doesn't want to get involved in anyone else's shit but his own.
And I like that his justification wasn't, because sometimes it's the typical wrestling thing. Well, I'm a babyface and he's a babyface, so therefore we're tag team partners, or therefore we're best friends all of a sudden because we're both babyfaces. That's not why. He wasn't like, Seth is my best friend. It was, I have a title match coming up and I want to beat that guy.
Right.
And I like that. I like that if he's protecting Seth, it's not because we're friends and we're going to have an honorable matchup at Crown Jewel. He's like, no, I want my matchup that I was signed for. I like that attitude from Drew.
I do too. It would actually be quite comical if Drew actually beats Rollins at Crown Jewel, but then Damian cashes in on him at Crown Jewel and then takes the belt.
That would be the ultimate thing to maybe finish Drew's heel turn if they go all the way. Is he gets so frustrated he snaps on Damian Priest, and then you kind of maybe get a
double turn
there. Because wasn't Rhea Ripley talking to Drew in the background while like Ricochet was cutting a promo or something earlier?
Well, they kind of did it where you didn't know for sure who she was talking to, but yeah, I think that's who it was.
So maybe, and this is real outlandish because then you're just jumbling all kinds of shit up. But think about this. Crown Jewel, Rollins loses to Drew. Drew is celebrating. Priest comes out, cashes in, wins. Drew's upset. The Judgment Day come out. You think they're going to celebrate, but Drew attacks Priest, and then the Judgment Day attacks Priest, and now Drew is the new guy in the Judgment Day, and Priest is out on his ass. It doesn't. They would have to find a way for it to make sense, but
I mean, well, because the other thing too is you can't have a face Judgment Day with Mysterio in the mix. Because I don't see that there's anything you're going to be able to do right now to get Dom over as a face.
We thought
not that I really even want it.
Yeah.
I'm enjoying him as a heel.
Right,
he's doing such a phenomenal job.
Or maybe I guess I was the turn wouldn't be the turn would be Judgment Day would stay heels. Drew would be a heel in Judgment Day, and Priest would be a baby face. Yeah, that would make more sense because I was thinking like with Dom. There is a way to do that. There's a way to do because I didn't think there was a way to do it with MJF, and now he's a big baby face. So
I always knew there would be a way that you could do it with MJF for sure, because people love when somebody's just a dick. Like I always knew MJF would be great either way. My reasoning for Dom is I just don't. Dom can't even get a word out. How's he going to turn face? Yeah. You know what I mean? I don't know.
I'm still confused as to why they haven't brought Vicky in now that she hasn't been with AEW for like a year. I thought that was their immediate move was to put Vicky in with those guys because I thought like, could you imagine Dom and his real mother or whatever he calls her? You know what I mean? Vicky Guerrero,
mean, like you have a story there. You could definitely bring her in. I listen. It could be that WWE has no interest, or it could be that she has no interest in getting back in the business.
Right.
She's got kids and
right. Yeah. Dom said something funny in an interview that he's technically an 18-year veteran of the WWE. So in 7 years, he expects a 25th anniversary like episode of Raw or whatever, like a 25th anniversary retrospective. Yeah.
I love him. I really do.
But it would be footage.
Great job.
It would be like footage of him and with the custody of Dominic ladder match.
Great match.
Footage of Punk singing "Happy Birthday" to Dominic.
Yeah,
and then they would have that thing from The Simpsons where it says "footage missing," and then it would show his debut on Raw.
Oh my god, it would be amazing. They should do it. Maybe they will. So Monday Night Raw, Ivar Kofi Kingston in the Viking Rules match, which is just an ODQ match, but with Viking shit all around the ring. That was a great match. Ivar is just amazing. I mean, we've known him for a long time, and he's just amazing. And the things he can do, being his size, always gets me. He's just that good, and it was a great match. It was entertaining. Ivar obviously went over.
Good decision. Because with those kind of matches, because it's the heels stipulation, he's a Viking, it's a Viking rules match, whatever. A lot of times they give that as an out for the babyface to find a way to win, and like it absolutely makes sense for Kofi with the goodwill he's garnered from the fans to just win a match like this. But Kofi knows he's got to help put other people over, and even though Ivar and him are probably about the same age, because him and Ivar trained together over at Kowalski School and all that stuff. Kofi made it to the big dance before he did, and then Warbeard, Ivar now, but Warbeard was going through Ring of Honor and NEW and all this other stuff, and then eventually made it to NXT. Several years after Kofi.
Yeah.
But now it's cool to see those two guys wrestle each other because knowing where they came from, and now seeing Kofi going, you know what, we're so over, I can take this loss, and this is just going to help the Viking Raiders. So beautiful, I love it.
Yeah, no, it was a great match. Then we had Nia Jax versus Raquel Rodriguez.
Oh God,
which did not last very long because Rhea Ripley came in and attacked both.
Thank God.
But then Shayna Baszler winds up knocking out Rhea Ripley.
Wow.
So it was kind of cool. I think they're setting up a fatal 4-way for them, which could be cool. Then you got the undisputed tag champions. They came out, had an interview with Michael Cole. Michael Cole asked some hard-hitting questions. Then Owens and Sami Zayn came out. Interesting part about this, I'm sitting here, and their music hits, but it's Sammy's heel music. And I go, Sammy and Kevin are heel now?
Right. Yeah, that was weird.
Excuse me. But he acknowledged it, too, when they got in the ring. Sammy's like, well, I haven't heard that music in a while. And when they came back out later, it was the music that we expected. Yeah. So somebody fucked up in the back. But basically, Sammy and Kevin want their shot. They agree to have that match tonight or last night. So the main event, which was a phenomenal match, but of course ended with Cody and Jay retaining the titles. You also had Ricochet, Bronson Reed, Chad Gable. Chad Gable beforehand was warming up in the back. Great segment. You got to catch it on YouTube or on the network. Something. It was funny. Okay. But Bronson Reed versus Gunther for the IC title is happening next week on Raw.
Great.
I can't wait to see how they do this one because Bronson is a big motherfucker.
That he is.
So
they're both big boys. Gunther, Gunther's one of those guys that can work
with anyone.
He's kind of like Brock. He can work with little guys and have a really good match, but then he can still have when he wrestles a guy that's his size, he can have like a more traditional wrestling match. Yo, Shanique, holy shit. Have you heard that name in 20 years, Steve?
Been a long time.
Been a long time. Should have left you. Yeah, man. Shanique was on for what? A cup of coffee, as they would say. Was she on SmackDown? I remember. She was like Joy Giovanni, where you're like, wait, where did she come from and where did she go?
I cannot remember for the life of me what show she was on.
Or was Shanique with the one that was with the Bashams?
Maybe.
Remember the Bashams? They had a girl with them that was like a dominatrix.
I don't remember.
God,
but I remember the name. That's hilarious.
That brings me back to like when the boogeyman was biting that thing off of Lillian's or Jillian's face.
Are you trying to make a comparison between Shaniqua and Jade Cargill, David?
Oh, he might have just had it on her mind. No, Jade Cargill, she made her appearance at Fastlane, right?
She did.
Backstage.
She pulled up in a truck. She came out, and you saw Triple H greet her. But man, is she looking? I mean, you talk about a total package, man. I hope they do it right with her. We'll see where it goes. But man, yeah, I see big things. I said it last time too. I see big things for Jade. Drew McIntyre versus JD. I mean, obviously, Drew McIntyre won the match.
Had to, yeah.
Becky Lynch, Tegan Nox, NXT Women's Title.
Right.
That match has put Tegan Nox on the map.
Oh, good.
Tegan looked amazing. She pulled out some shit, Vince. I'm telling you, go back and watch it if you can.
Oh yeah, no,
it was a great match. Becky went over, but
yeah, of course.
But she people know who Tegan Knox is. Let's say that.
And that's what she's needed. And I know she's suffered through injuries and this, that, and the third.
And they
but
addressed that too in a video package prior, like all her trials and tribulations. And yeah,
I'll build that up because she needed this match fucking 3 years ago, but she was probably injured. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was just one of those things that the timing never worked out, where there were plans for her, and then something would happen with her knee or whatever it was. So
Right.
absolutely good to see her back. Hopefully healthy. Hopefully doesn't have another one of those injury scares again, and we can just see what she's able to do. Because now, what is it? I was reading the recaps, and it seems like she impressed Natalia now with her like toughness.
I mean, with Natalia, you can't ever tell if it's like genuine or if she's gonna turn heel again, because she
Right.
kind of bounces back and forth. I gotta tell you, man, she's so annoying to me. Her acting sucks. It's not believable.
Terrible.
She's
Dog
great
shit.
in the ring. Like she needs to just shut the fuck up and wrestle. Like it's just, it's been going on for so long, and God bless her, but her promos suck. She can't act. Like she just can't act.
No, definitely not. Which sucks because that's kind of like, isn't that the Hart family curse? They can all really wrestle, but then none of them could cut a good promo.
Bret Hart wasn't terrible.
There were a couple of them that weren't bad, but like I don't know, sometimes you'd hear a Hart promo and you're like, oh my god.
Anvil was always great because it was short, sweet, and kind of pumped up.
Right, and that's maybe that's what she should have leaned into instead of like trying to do these Shakespearean monologues. Like,
yeah, it's just I don't know if it's the tone of her voice. I don't know what it is, man. But just you're one of the best technical wrestlers in the women's division. Just wrestle. Like, just stop talking and wrestle. She would be somebody great to go to David Roska's point that should have a manager. Have a manager do all the talking and just shut the fuck up and wrestle.
Absolutely,
I mean, that's really, but that was pretty much all of Raw. Again, SmackDown this week is going to be the season premiere, which means Raw is going to be the season premiere. But whenever you have a season premiere, you know what that means?
What?
Take a guess. What does it mean when they have a season premiere?
Somebody's going to go one-on-one with the Undertaker.
Time to play the game.
Oh, all right, there we go.
Time to play the game. It's all about the game and how you play it.
So he'll come out. You're
not going to have Vince McMahon.
No.
But we are getting Triple H, and one thing I am also hearing is that Vince McMahon has officially been ousted for any creative control, and it is 100% been given to Triple H.
Yeah.
I hope that's true, but
we'll see. I mean, I don't know. It seems very. I don't. Do you think in the 3 weeks that the company's been formed that Vince McMahon has blown it that badly? Like I feel like he's still like.
Endeavor
I think we're in the situation
the fuck they want now.
We're in the situation of where we were kind of last year, where Triple H is in charge of creative, but Vince is on the bat phone and he just calls down changes. Like I think
maybe they cut the cord to the bat phone.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll
know. The way we'll know is by watching the episodes. So
no.
And I did see the same reports, but it's just like I can't ever. I always take them with a grain of salt because you just with the internal workings of a corporation like that. Yes, everybody's got their assigned role and their name on their door and their name on the business card, but then
that's true.
There's only one person higher in TKO than Vince McMahon, and it's Emmanuel. So like there's him and Dana White are the two second commands because they each represent a different side of the company. So like he still has pull if he needs it,
Right.
But maybe he's just content now. I think maybe he did what he wanted to do. And he's all set.
Before we wrap it up, Ryan couldn't be on tonight. It's Erica's birthday, his girlfriend. So shout out to her. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Erica.
And yeah, and then pretty much on that note, we're just about top of the hour. Vince, you got anything else you want to add, or anything we missed of importance?
No, I mean, well, FTR lost the tag team titles to Big Bill and Ricky Starks. And there's speculation that it's either a legit injury from one of them, or if you remember a couple months ago, one of them got arrested for pulling a gun during a road rage incident.
Yeah.
So it could be coming down the pipe that he's going to be going to trial or whatever, and they need to get the titles off him. Or the third option is they just wanted to do a title change because they knew there was a title change coming on the pay-per-view, and they wanted to try and...
I think I'm going to lean more towards that because from what I understand with the whole gun thing is that it was ultimately a misdemeanor, and it's not going to be a trial thing or anything. But
listen, I feel even as a judge, and I am not condoning pulling a gun on somebody at a road rage incident, but I understand. We've
all been there.
Even a judge will understand, man. Like, but anyway, for me, they ended up playing. I ended up going on PLR 99.1 PLR this morning to do a top 10 list that of top 10 video game cover athletes over the years. One of which was John Cena, who I didn't realize has been on 12 WWE 2K covers.
Yeah.
Between SmackDown, actually the SmackDown and Raw series and the 2K series, John Cena's been on 12. So you can check out the replay on 991plr.com. They also, at the end of my segment, played a portion of the parody song that I wrote. That's up on my social media. That's up on the Chaz and AJ and the PLR social media as well. I wrote a pumpkin spice themed parody song for this time of year. People drinking pumpkin coffee and all that shit. So check out 991plr.com for the Chaz and AJ replay of Tuesday's show. And it's the very first hour of the show, the 6 o'clock hour. You go to what they would call the 6:20 or 6:30 portion. So about halfway through the first hour, that's where I am. I woke up at 5:15, called in, did my segment, and then went back to sleep because it was like 6:30 in the morning and I needed some more sleep. So check that out, and then just check us out. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to say that. Yeah, and just follow us on social media at TagMeADate, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, YouTube is the same. X or Twitter, like everything is at TagMeADate except for Twitch. It's twitch.tv/warreport, WARREPORT. But everything else is at TagMeADate. Twitch is where we broadcast live. YouTube is where we broadcast live. We're live on the LinkedIn. We're live on some Facebook pages. Look for the War Report or TagMeADate on Facebook. You'll find us very easily. We're on Steve's LinkedIn streaming. YouTube is TagMeADate. Type TagMeADate, all one word, into the search bar. Our page will come up. Hit subscribe, hit the bell. Twitch, like I said, twitch.tv/War Report. You can add us as a favorite, add us as a friend. I forget what it's called. And then if you prefer an audio version of the podcast versus a video version, just go to your favorite podcast app, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play Podcasts. Type in TagMeADate or type in the War Report wrestling, kind of search. When you find it, you're going to see the graphic. You're going to see the icon that says the War Report on it. The description of the podcast will mention Steve or me or whatever. The whole crew, just because there are 2 War Report podcasts that both discuss pro wrestling. So just make sure when you read the description that you're subscribing to the correct one. And that usually goes up within an hour of the show going off the air. So between now and an hour from now, the MP3 version will be ripped and uploaded and sent over to your tablet or mobile device. You can just take it with you if you like to listen to podcasts in the car while you're working out, whatever you're doing. Burn a little time, listen to a podcast while you're folding your laundry or something. We definitely appreciate it. Thanks to Jim, David, and Tara for coming to the chat. Now all of a sudden I can see Jim's name. That's weird. We couldn't see him at the beginning of the show. It was just Facebook users. So thank you to David, Jim, and Tara for being in the comments and helping move the conversation forward. Of course, if you have any friends that are wrestling fans that want to jump in the chat, they absolutely can. David's commenting on YouTube. Tara and Jim are from Facebook. So, I mean, you can comment anywhere and it's going to show up right here. So pick your platform, watch the show, comment along. If you have friends that want to jump in the chat, please, we encourage it. Ask us questions, give us suggestions, give us your opinions. Tara and David very much give us their opinions every week on what they're, where they think things are going. And we love hearing from them. So if you're a wrestling fan, you have friends that want a new podcast to listen to, spread the love, share the word of the War Report. And we'll be back 9 p.m. Eastern time next Tuesday, another live stream right here on Facebook or Twitch or YouTube or wherever it is you're watching. We're going to be right back here, 9 p.m. Eastern time next Tuesday. Thank you guys so much for watching. We hope you have a nice week. See you later.